Bad beats, bad beats, bad beats, bad beats. You know what I'm saying?
Yo, welcome. Week 3, episode 3 of the Open the Box podcast. With me, your host Charlie, joined by my good mate Bo again. How are you, mate?
Wagwan.
Good to see you, mate, good to see you. So, being week 3, we're going to talk about topics beginning with C. An interesting week this. Conspiracy week. Conspiracy week. So, because there's a lot to talk about, we're probably going to split this in part 1, part 2, maybe even a part 3, but for this week, I think we're going to talk about cancer, pharmaceuticals, aliens, and 9/11. So let's kick it up with cancer. Call it a conspiracy. It's an interesting one, really, but what's your whole take on cancer?
Well, I used to believe that it was ridiculous to imagine that the government could be hiding the cure for cancer. But more recently, I do kind of feel like it is a possibility that
They say that a lot of people say that there's more money in treating it than actually solving it. So that's why it's
I feel
still.
like the government would be losing too much money.
Yeah.
And they're too greedy.
It's definitely the case. Yeah, it's definitely the case in America because obviously we have the NHS, so a lot of it is funded by the government. But in America, it's people say it's not the cancer that will kill you; it's the bills paying for it. That's a ridiculous thing, and this. We do, you see it with, recently, there's been a lot of these, runs for breast cancer, especially for women, because I think that's the most pressing one for women. And, all this money that's been raised and not really it still feels as if the battle's still not won yet at all. It's just sad to see. But,
very sad to see.
How's it affected you in your life, or your surrounding family, or?
Well, my mum's mum died of cancer when my mum was very young, so it hasn't affected me directly, but I guess it probably has affected me in the long run.
That's the thing, regardless of not if it's directly, I think there's a fact that I'm not sure if it's everyone, but pretty much. Or 1 in 2 people are affected by it, so they know someone who's died or that it's affected them personally.
It's pretty.
1 in 2 people.
Pretty crazy.
Madness. But
yeah, grandma got taken by cancer, so
yeah, such a sad thing, isn't it? It's such a sad. But the thing is, the conspiracy side of it is that. For me personally, have you seen the film Quarantine?
I have, yeah. I
genuinely feel like
they're sort of distributing.
Yeah, it feels. I don't know if it's fully naive to say, but 50 years ago, a lot of people weren't really dying of cancer, and there's always been this issue of population control, and the population is just too big for the. We've gone past that threshold that. The Earth can fully provide resources for the population, and in order to counter that, these these population pessimists, I think they're called, is the right term, genuinely maybe not the same degree, but put cancer in a rat, it bit someone, it spread round, now it's in everyone's genes, and it's just purely a population thing.
Yeah.
And that would be just outrageous if that was the truth. Do you not think?
True. It would be outrageous, but at the same time, I actually wouldn't be surprised. the world is pretty dirty, and governments will do whatever they can to
You see it a lot,
control the masses. It's like
exactly.
the church, isn't it?
Like you see, I think something happened a while ago with this bloke who worked for the CIA. I can't remember his name. They made a film on it. Like he came out and basically like dished all the dirt on the government, and like he's like their number one fucking target now to get him and kill him.
Cancer in it.
Exactly. But yeah, like what causes cancer? Like,
I'm not actually.
like what I think it's like a mutation in the body that like your cells like reproduce and replicate all the time, but it's when it goes wrong, and then like the cell that's gone wrong keeps on multiplying, and it gets like, for a tumour for example, it'll get bigger and bigger and that. But it's just, I don't know what would make, I don't know, because we've got billions of cells in our body, and they obviously like reproduce and like replenish all the time, but should that cause cancer? Like, should it? I don't know. It's a weird one.
I can't help you on that one.
Yeah. But interestingly, like smoking and drinking are apparently the two biggest causes of cancer.
True.
And it's still like.
And we still go out.
Everyone still does it.
True.
And like, there's no real. You know. I think there's no real. The information's out there, but there's no real like honesty from the government that this is actually the case. I think there's no real like, you know, pretty much everyone drinks and smokes, and you know it kills you, and like there's no real protection from the government. It's only like there's a bit of tax on it. Like there's only like, oh, you just have to pay a bit more money, which they take through tax, obviously, to keep doing it. There's no real like. There's only recently that like cigarettes have got the packets have properly gone a bit like dark.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
It's like, a bit more industrial now.
I've not really seen myself, but what like pictures are on the cigarettes and that now?
They're dirty.
Yeah, it's grim. Like it's not just a case of saying smoking kills, which it does say on every single packet. But yeah, it's quite easy for me to say like as a non-smoker, but a lot of people still smoke and that's fair enough. It's their choice.
I feel like people should start moving on to vapes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna take this opportunity to call out all the smokers that aren't vaping.
Vape Nation.
Vape Nation. But I don't vape myself, but I just don't see the point of people smoking when they can vape. It just seems a bit pointless.
It's just a lack of honesty, isn't it? Like, I don't know.
I can understand why people weren't vaping at the beginning when they first came out. Was it?
It's just, I don't know, it's a new thing. It
seemed a bit, weird.
It takes a while for people to warm to new things and new habits and stuff. But then, like, again, this links into the whole pharmaceuticals industry, like the whole drugs industry. Like I feel like with drugs in general, like if you go to the doctors, get a prescription to sort you out or for whatever it may be, you know, they always say, you know, come back in 2 weeks for some more, come back in 2 weeks for more and more and more, and before you know it, you've been on these drugs for a year, and it's kind of just suppressed the issue, not actually taking care of it. And like that's the whole concept of it's deliberate because they want you to come back. Like the doctors want you to come back to get more drugs because it makes the pharmaceutical companies more money than, yeah. And so they don't actually give you a pill or whatever that solves the problem, they just
prevent it.
Yeah, it's just
for that moment.
And if it's a case of that's the best job they can do, then fair enough. But if their motive for it is to rinse you for more money, then that's just
That's pretty bad, isn't it?
yeah.
Pretty dirty.
So what's your view on marijuana? Tell everyone.
I think it's not too bad.
Mm.
I feel like it's quite overly thought of. Like it's quite.
Or it not being legal.
Yeah, I feel like that's just a matter of time till
Yeah.
it becomes legal. I feel like a lot of the older generation don't quite realise that it's not that bad because they've been like told that it's the worst thing in the world, and it's just not really, is it?
Like linking to what we've been saying before.
Especially comparing it to alcohol.
Yeah, like the thing is with marijuana is it's a different story at the moment because it's not, it's not regulated because it's not legal in this country. But it's been proven to, cover a wide range of like benefits and solve a lot of problems and issues and stuff, like health-wise. And people say the reason the government don't legalise it is because if marijuana was legal, people would turn to that as opposed to alcohol, smoking, and they claim that the pharmaceuticals industry, the tobacco industry, and the alcohol industry are actually like slipping the government money to keep it illegal because they're going to go out of business otherwise. There's going to be no painkillers. People will drink nowhere near as, not even half as much. And I'd say most of the smokers would change over to that. And, yeah.
Well, that wouldn't surprise me, to be honest.
What would be your first thing to do if weed was legal? What would you go and do?
What do you think I'd do?
You tell me, I don't know.
I'd go to a nice, depends on the weather, really.
Yeah?
Yeah, if it was a nice day, I'd go out, roll
Roll
a
out,
fathead, and
smoke up.
smoke up on a lovely spot.
Mm.
Maybe with a nice takeaway.
This isn't
coffee
if, by
as
the way,
well.
this isn't in general. We don't
absolute,
condone doing drugs here on Open the Box, but
absolute.
you can do
if
what
it
you
was
want.
legal.
Yeah.
But yeah, if it was a rainy day, I'd probably just
Stay inside.
dip to the garden.
Alright, so I think that'll be the first conspiracy that we'll talk about. I think we should move on to
Just hit 13 minutes.
aliens.
All the total stainless, you just remain as calm as possible. Make the deal go through. If not, here's 12 shots. We know how you do. Please make your killings clean. Slugs up in between. They eyes like true lies. Kill them and flee the scene. Just bring back the coke or the cream. Or else your life is on the shelf. We mean this, Frank. The cats we fucking with put bombs in your mom's gas tank. Let's get this money, baby. They say we get shady. Dress up like ladies and burn them with dirty 380s. Then they come to kill our babies. That's all out. I got guns that blow the wall out. Clear them all out. Fuck us all out.
Right, so the second part, we're going to talk about aliens.
We are
Booky.
very booky stuff.
Your views. Do they exist, don't they?
I feel they definitely exist.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it would be naive for people to say they don't exist.
Yeah. It's as simple as really like they do or they don't. It's as simple as that. Like, and we're this little speck in the whole universe.
Mm-hmm.
And to think that we're the only people out there is just a bit naive, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
But the thing is, something that I think is that, do you think they're on the Earth at the moment?
No.
No?
No.
This is the thing, because like, how do we know what, like everyone has got this same like image of what an alien looks like, and it's literally like this big old head with these bug eyes, like fuck off massive eyes, like green, like dark green, like
sort of like a tall,
slimy, like sluggy alien thing.
something out of like, what's it called? Men in Black.
Yeah, exactly. But so where would we get that image? Like, well, who would? Do you know what I mean? Like, where would we get that image from? Unless maybe someone's seen it before.
I think
Or-
just media.
True.
But originally, where did the media get it from? Fuck knows.
Yeah. Because that's the thing. Like.
Book descriptions, maybe.
Yeah.
Well, they used to have like drawings on the pyramids, didn't they, of like old aliens.
Yeah. Okay.
Very, very.
That's what I mean,
spooky
like-
stuff.
like-
Ancient aliens.
Yeah.
Everyone should go check that out.
Yeah, that's funny.
Shit's fun.
Like, for all we know, they could look like these like butters, like slimy slugs, or something like that. But we all seem to think they just look like humans that are green and with big heads. Like, I don't know.
But obviously, that's not what it can only be
So what do you think goes down
in outer
in
space.
Area 51? Do you know what that is?
No,
Area
not
51. Like, to my knowledge,
Is
it's
that
just
in
like
America?
yeah, it's just like they claim it's just like military like trade. You know, like Sandhurst in England, like this army training camp. They claim that that's what Area 51 is in America, but you know, like all around the perimeter of the area is like, don't come in, otherwise you're gonna get shot. And like, that's if you go near Area 50, it's in the middle of nowhere as well. I think it's in the can't remember what the desert's called in America, but I think it's like smack in the middle there somewhere.
Is it near like Route 66?
Yeah, something like one of those spooky places. And that's where all these sightings are happening, and obviously people join the dots and just say that's their like alien like stronghold. Like that's where all
Like the Bermuda Triangle?
yeah, like that's where all the Men in Black are and stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I definitely think that we've made contact with aliens.
Do you? What makes you say that?
Because the fact, I think one thing is the fact that we've gone so, all of our technology and all of our stuff like that over the like really really recently, or the past, ever since we've like gone to the moon or whatever, or have we? Conspiracy for the future, for a future podcast. But it's just blown up in the last like 20 years, and maybe we've met up with some aliens, nicked their ideas, and done a runner. Just
Steve Jobs.
took them for ourselves, yeah, or something like that. Do you know what I mean? Like,
I'm not too sure about that, Charlie. I'm not gonna lie.
I tell you what, something that would scare me the most about aliens would be the ones that, like, first of all, we've got this whole stereotype that they're like really booky and really, really butters and really like great, like grim and disgusting. But have you seen the film Paul?
I have, yeah.
It's like, imagine if these aliens were just like fucking jokes. Like, he is just one of the boys just taking the piss and that.
Yeah, but they're not going to be speaking English.
Never know. Never know. They could have this little switch on their throat and just
True.
Google Translate on their throat.
True.
But like the scary thing is that they could be like the ones that they like.
Shapeshifters.
Yeah, like they like eat your insides and then
there's this guy at
and
my
then put on
uni
your skin.
I'm convinced is a shapeshifter.
Yeah.
Yeah. That is like, if there's aliens on Earth, they're definitely shapeshifters.
Yeah.
Like,
That's what I mean. Like,
sketchy people that you just see wandering about.
there could be so many of them as well, because they like go. They literally wear your skin. They kill you, and then wear your skin as cover.
Yeah. Like
And you can't even tell.
what's that guy called?
Like in Doctor Who.
Fucking
you seen that?
from Silence of the Lambs.
I don't know. I've not seen that.
But Buffalo Bill.
Well,
Like,
who's
kills
that?
really fat ladies.
Yeah.
Like, this is true as well. Like,
What was he just a?
it's like an old
Misogynist
sort
or
of
something?
fable character, but
Yeah.
like it was a real thing. Like, and basically just went for big fat girls and fucking murked them.
He likes curvy
Extra
girls.
skin.
Yeah.
Fucking made a skin suit.
More
out
meat
of
to
them.
play with.
Brass, mate. Absolutely.
But that's what I mean. Imagine if Donald Trump was one of those people one of those aliens that crawls inside you, wears your skin,
It's the thing, like,
and
if
he's actually an alien.
he does sort of look like a shapeshifter.
He does,
as well.
exactly. He's something in his face, in his skin. I just don't trust him.
It's nature.
His nature, his foreign alien nature. He just chats pure shit.
Extraterrestrial.
Yeah. But then explain the whole thing with UFOs as well. What do you think that is?
Well, I haven't seen any convincing footage, news articles, or anything from UFOs, so as far as UFOs go,
Not convinced?
not convinced.
No?
What about you?
I don't know.
Oh, excuse me.
It's one of those things again where, like, where would we get how would we know what to identify a UFO as if they weren't real? If you know what I mean? Maybe one person saw it, explained it in detail, and then
Just someone's tripping out.
that's what we go off, if you know what I mean? Like,
I don't know, I just feel like... So it just seems a bit far-fetched.
what about, have you seen crop circles? Do you know what they are?
Yeah.
That is spooky.
Yeah, but there's probably reasons for it, like...
What then?
Animals,
Tell me.
like...
Animals.
Yeah, like
Leave
animals
it out.
killing, like, the
Like the patterns that they make in the wheat fields and that are just like, and I think some farmers in America all this shit always seems to happen in America first of all, which is just not the most reliable source. But these farmers all claim that, you know, that they went to bed and their field was fine, and they wake up in the morning and they've got these like patterns and like shapes like all like over the whole field, and they were saying like, this isn't going to be some kids pissing around on a tractor, you know, this is just like architecture and stuff like that, like all of these
very booky
the whole thing of aliens, there's all these unanswered questions and stuff.
Very, very booky.
But I do believe that they exist.
Definitely.
Whether or not we've met them before is a different question.
What do you think about dimensions and the whole...
What's that? Like parallel universe?
Yeah.
I don't really know. But the thing is that I think the best way for me, that is when there's this film, I can't remember what it's called, and this woman, basically, it's based in London, this woman, it might be Gwyneth Paltrow, I can't remember, but she's basically like running to get the tube, and the whole film is laid out on the fact that this one incident like changes the course of her life.
I see.
And essentially, like, so take it like in the first, take it number like the first parallel universe, whatever. She's basically like, I think she's basically getting a cab to the station and just going to get on the tube to go home, and like something happens, like she drops her phone and she picks up her phone, but by that time she's literally missed this cab to like wave it down.
Okay.
And then the second one, she like gets the cab.
Okay.
So both call them parallel universes, whatever. She's in the taxi.
Yeah.
And obviously in the first one, because she like missed the taxi, she literally just misses the tube door shut.
Hey.
And in the other one, she gets on the tube, And then like, so both of these stories are continuing, and the one where she gets on the tube, she basically, I think it's because she was coming home from work, and she basically like bumps into her husband like cheating on her, like having an affair, and in the other one, she misses the tube, so when she gets home, you know, he's, you know, dusted, put his clothes on, got her out, got the woman he was cheating on without the room, dashed her out the room quick, you know, put his clothes on, had a shower and that, so he didn't stink of sex. And obviously didn't get caught, and then just acted when she gets home, oh, how are you, darling, love you, good day at work, yeah, whatever, cheating bastard. And so in the first one she clocks him cheating, and she obviously, they're about to get married or whatever, and she dumps him and basically finds this other guy, and eventually like falls in love with him, and then I can't remember what happens, but I think she died at the end, but she died like happy, like falling in love with this guy. And in the second one, the one where she didn't catch him cheating, she just kept on playing, like going through life as if everything was happy, and then I think catched him cheating but at a later date, and then I think she dies as well, but she died like really depressed and really like sad because she just got cheated on a man that she loved, and it just shows that something so small changes the course of your life. And I think that does point to maybe like a parallel universe or something. Like, yeah. I think so many things that we do could like create this fork in the road, and then we just choose which road to take. But like that whole thing did make me believe in like your like fate and destiny and stuff, that your life story's already like written out for you. Yeah. What do you think?
I believe in dimensions for sure.
Is that I was rambling, but is that basically the same? What dimensions are? That whole. Yeah. Like the fact that she like dropped her phone or dropped her purse or whatever, and then her life just went on two like drastically different courses. Was just I'd recommend anyone to go watch it. Like, it's a good film.
Do you know what it's called?
I can't remember. I think it's on Netflix.
That's not much help then.
I think it's called like Closing Doors. Literally, because she misses that tube door.
Yeah.
Closing Doors, or I can't remember.
I think my mum told me to watch that.
It's a good film.
Yeah, true. And then I do believe in dimensions. I don't really believe in fate.
Do you not?
No, but I do believe in dimensions.
You carve your own path.
I believe you do carve your own path. Yeah. But not so much like it's
as much as already written out for you.
Yeah.
Alright. Should we switch over to the next conspiracy we're going to talk about?
Go on.
Pressing one that probably everyone's heard of, everyone knows about, everyone's read about and stuff like that. 9/11. 9/11.
Shit.
So, moving on to the third segment of the conspiracies, we are going to talk about 9/11. This has got to be the most convincing / ridiculous one there is, because it's one of those ones that you can really like tangibly see. Like, it's not a case of thinking that the government may have done this or done that. It's just so, in my eyes, blatantly obvious that, you know. What do you think?
I think 9/11 was done by the US government.
Oh yeah, no, totally.
Yeah.
100%. If you don't, it doesn't take a fool to go out on the internet and just read for half an hour, and the things that you start to see is, or the evidence that starts to compile is just astonishing. Like, really, like, for example, like, there's a really common one that everyone knows about is the fact that
they needed an excuse to...
Yeah, it was. That's one point. That it was basically an excuse for them to
go and fuck shit up.
Go and attack in the Middle East, and and it gave them a reason to. I don't know what the reasons were, but I think it was for oil. That was, I think, they clearly done a calculation, and I assume that the benefits of attacking the Middle East for oil would outweigh the damage that they did to themselves. You know,
clearly got their priorities.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's just it's fucked. It's so fucked. Like, but like, evidence that they look for is the fact that, you may have heard this one. It's the fact that jet fuel burns at like 750 degrees, but steel beams can't actually melt until like 3,000 degrees. So you could get like a pool of jet fuel, burn it, hold it underneath a steel beam, and you could hold it forever. The beam's not going to melt. And the fact that the whole structural integrity of the building melted and collapsed was
also,
it just doesn't make sense.
Apparently a like the number of Jewish people that worked in that building was very high, and the amount of Jewish people that went to work on that day was very low.
Really?
Yeah, I read that somewhere.
Oh, right. And like, if you look at the footage when the building actually collapses, it does seem really like organised. The way, like, it got hit. Well, it got hit supposedly. Like, I think it was like 3/4 of the way up, and then when the building collapses, it seems like such a controlled explosion. The way, because that's where the buildings are designed. So when they do eventually, in X amount of years, try and demolish them, they collapse like dead straight.
Yeah.
So they don't make like ricochet and loads of mess. And you see like the whole like why would a plane 3/4 of the way up make the whole building collapse? You know. And something that's not actually talked about a lot, but I think is quite... I feel like I came up with it on my own. Probably not came up with it, but an observation I made was, in the city of, like, New York's a big city. There's like 8, like, it's by the sea. There's like, you know, it's not as if it's like, and it's really level, it's really flat, so you'd be able to see a plane from miles away. In a city of like, I think around 8 to 12, I'm not sure roughly, but I think it's around 8 million people. On the whole incident, there's about, anywhere you look, there's about 10 camera angles.
Yeah.
Do you not think a plane coming at building height for a long, like, it's not as if the plane's going to be 30,000 feet and then just
it's in the middle
swan
of New York
dive and
well.
hit the building. Like, it must have been there for a significant amount if it was there at all. It must have been there for a significant amount of time and then just hit the building.
Yeah.
And would you not think that people would clock it and just get the phone out and start filming it? Or
especially
there's only
in the middle
about
of New York.
Yeah,
so.
that's what I mean. In a city of 8 million people, or whatever the figure is, I'm not entirely sure. There's only about 10 camera angles on the whole thing. To me, that's just a bit bizarre.
It's a bit suspicious in itself.
Because that would lead to the fact if they're, and the things for me is that all of the news broadcasting, all the NBCs and the CNNs seem to have the footage straight away, and it seemed like it was somewhat like rehearsed. Like and when the footage that they did get, they were quite far away, and like it's just I just think that is something that isn't talked about at all, really, because the whole the fact there was only like 10 camera angles on the whole thing, and you see these interviews of the firefighters going in, like everyone's seen it, and they come out and they're like, no.
Not really. Only what you've pointed out, the fact that they needed an excuse.
Yeah.
It did seem a little bit.
I don't know where the logic is, because it's such a close to impossible thing to like orchestrate, to pretend that a plane. Because I think for me the whole plane thing is just totally undermined, because as well, like there's video footage of the plane hitting, and if you like zoom in on it, you see the nose of the plane come out the other side of the building, and then it explodes, and it's just like, do you really think that a plane's going to go through a steel constructed concrete building and the nose is going to come out the other end untouched, and then it blows up? Like, to me, and like there's these videos of there's these pictures of like planes, obviously like conventional like passenger aircraft flying, and a bird will hit the nose, just like a normal little like seagull or something, do you know what I mean? And the whole nose will like be crushed, and like, you know, it's usually like a round, like it looks like a torpedo or something. It will literally be like crushed, and like the fact that a steel concrete building wouldn't affect it, it's just bullshit, I think.
Is that definitely like?
Oh yeah, you can the footage that is out there. It's not as if it's been edited. Like every camera angle you see the plane, the nose come out the other side of the building.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
And then it would like untouched.
Unless it literally just went through like the glass.
Nah, but that's because there'll be steel beams up the middle, won't there? There'll be like fuck off massive, like all the way up the thing. I just think it's bullshit. Do you not think if it's going 500 miles an hour into glass, it's gonna crumple a bit, like? Yeah. But as well, something that's really interesting is that the guy that owned the building, apparently like a week before, this isn't really talked about much as well, but the guy that owned the building a week before took out, like he obviously had insurance on his building and stuff, because, you know, and he like altered he reviewed his contract with the insurance people and added terrorism to the insurance. Like, obviously, you know, you're not going to have terrorism on your insurance, are you? Like, you're not going to protect your building from terrorism, because pre 9/11 it just didn't really happen or wasn't really reported at all. And like a week before he took out, he, you know, put in terrorism in his insurance plan, and a week later, terrorism on his building, and he gets like a payout of like $4 billion. Billion, not million. $4 billion. Obviously, I don't know if that would pay for the building, but
it's almost like he was paid to let it happen.
Exactly.
How many people died?
I think it was 2,900, 3,000 people, which is just innocent lives, clearly. And there's another part to the puzzle as well, which is like apparently the like obviously the military like there in case something, if it was genuine, like if like the what they call the jets, they're obviously like not circulate the city, but they're there just in case something does happen. Apparently they were all on like none of them went into work that day and stuff like that. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like none of them went into work that day, and as a result, there was no jets like protecting the city because. I
mean, it's bullshit.
And there's so many like parts to this like puzzle which just make it more and more ridiculous and more blatant that it was a conspiracy. Like the whole. Did you hear about the whole Pentagon side of it?
No.
So I think the Pentagon is like the FBI. It's the equivalent of like MI5, I think. It's like the build, you know, the MI5 building in London.
Yeah,
it's basically
one in Cheltenham as well, next to my uni.
And the American equivalent of that supposedly had a plane crash into it as well. And you look at the footage after the scene, and there's just no evidence of a plane. Like there's just no where's all where are the turbines at, where are the engines at, like where's the wings at, like you look at it and it just looks like a bomb, like and they're like, oh yeah, it's a plane. Like the amount of shit coming out of their mouth is just unreal. Like,
wake up.
And people are like, there's people out there that still believe it, and it's just the naivety is just beyond. Like,
smell the coffee, mate. Smell the coffee.
Smell the coffee. But no, like, to me, it's just baffling. Like, and that, as we spoke about in a previous episode, like that, just America in general just seems to be like that.
True.
And yeah, it's just so sad to see that that's what it's all come to, and shit like that. It's depressing, really, isn't it? What do you think?
I think you've hit the nail on the head, really. It is pretty gloomy.
But to be honest, we could talk all day about it. Like, I encourage people listening to go and do your own research and genuinely, like,
make your own opinion.
Yeah, don't assume everything we're saying is true, but do your own reading. But I guarantee you 20 minutes, half an hour of reading, and you will be convinced that it was a load of shit. But I think that's a good place to wrap up.
Yeah, I think so. It's
episode 3.
42 minutes, episode 3, Conspiracies. Up in this. And, yeah.
Yeah, I'd just like to thank everyone for listening, if you do listen. Be really grateful if you shared, leave a comment. We'd love some feedback. Anything we could do to improve the podcast. And let us know. This is me, Charlie, signing out.
Peace out.
Peace out.
Bo, Pharmacuticals, Mad Buddha Productions.
Laters.